But I think it's a matter of perspective as to whether a word's really good or bad. It's what's behind the word that counts, you know? Like, let's say you're out at the beach, you're swimming at the beach, you hear somebody go, fuck! You go, well, that's pretty rude. But then you hear somebody go, shark! And it's fuck! Shark is anyway. It's all a matter of perspective. What's dirty to one person isn't necessarily to another. In Iran, for instance, the way they shoot the finger in Iran is like this. Thumbs up. This is how they do this in Iran. You can see how the Iranians may have some confusion when they see Americans hitchhiking.
That's right! Iran is #1!
And they obviously go to all the wrong Siskel and Ebert movies there. Oh, that movie must be too fucked up. The way I found this out, true story, a friend of mine came from Iran. When he first came here, he was working at a pizza joint. Now, his name was Faz, but everybody at the pizza joint kept calling him Fonzie the Fonz. Well, Faz had never seen Happy Days. He just assumed the American pronunciation for Faz was Fonz. So when he first came here, people would ask him his name. He'd go, my name is the Fonz. And invariably, people would go to this poor guy, hey! Hey, shark you! In Brazil, the way they shoot the finger in Brazil is the way we go, okay, like this. This is how they do this in Brazil. Which makes a lot of sense. You know anything about American history the last 150 years, North America, South America. Those of you not laughing may not know enough about American history, which means you learned it in school. Well, they taught us bullshit when I went to school. I remember when I went to school, they taught me 1/5 is 2/10. Hey, I had a fifth. I wasn't 2/10. But at least on travel brochures to Brazil, they should teach you this means this. That's important to know. Let's say you're going through Brazilian customs, right? The guy goes, did you have a good time in our country, sir? You shoot the guy in one of these. Next thing you know, you're getting an unexpected rectal exam. Are you having a good time now, sir? I haven't done any drugs yet, but don't worry, I will. Once I stick it in your nose. Yeah, but... Anyway, though, I've been working on solving the problems of the world. Thank you very much. Of course, the biggest problem in the world. You lady, what's the biggest problem in the world? You know what the biggest problem in the world is? You don't know. Ignorance. That's the biggest problem. Ignorance, leading to things like war. Hussein, not so bright, right? Henry Ford wrote, if you want to see who's starting the wars, look to see who's making a profit from them. And it hit me like a bolt of lightning. Who's made a profit from every single war? Time Life books. Everyone. This Civil War video, how'd they get that? And then it's such a violent world, like in LA, you know, the Rodney King beatings. I love the reason the police gave for beating Rodney King the way they did. They said the reason the police beat Rodney King is they said they thought he was high on drugs, is why they beat him. But then the reason the police stopped Rodney King in the first place is because they said Rodney was driving a Hyundai at 115 miles an hour. Who was doing drugs? But if he really was doing that, I think the police were kind of lenient, because if you could get a Hyundai to go 115, you're a witch and should be burned. Look it up. The police, I was in New Orleans, and I had this Cajun cab driver, and he goes, hey, you see them police over there? They got them a major drug problem down. That's right. All over the whole damn United States, they got them a major drug problem in the police department. What's where they're spending all that time? Everybody knows. Donut shop. What they doing at that donut shop? They eating them donuts, drinking that coffee. Might as well be shooting up sugar and caffeine right in their veins. Then they're pulling me over going. Was you speeding? No, I'm not. Not right now. My speedometer says 0. Can I check your damn pulse? There's some weird laws as you travel around this country. You know, in 20 states, it's illegal to have oral sex. You can't get heterosexual. You can't get head in 20 states. In my apartment, quite frankly, I don't know. I hope it's the law. I don't know. It might be me. I don't know. I was in Colorado at a place called Four Corners. You know, there's 4 different states right there, 4 corners. And I was there when they were changing the seatbelt laws, right? And so I was having a blast jumping back and forth from state to state, imagining what I couldn't legally do. You know, it's like up here's Utah, home of the Mormons, and step right to Arizona, over into New Mexico, up to Colorado. And I was jumping back and forth, and but now I could drink. Now I can't drink. Now I could drink, but I have to be wearing a safety belt. Now I can have 8 wives. I need a fucking drink. Now I can get head. Now I can't get head. Now I can get head. Not just up to here. Legal, illegal, legal, illegal. Kind of exciting. You might get caught that way. Now I can get head, but I have to be wearing a safety belt. Now I can have 8 wives, but I can't get head. And the cops go, I know he's gonna fuck up somewhere. Yeah, so, you know, the laws are based around the morality of the area. Alabama, I was in Alabama, and they were taking books out of schools. They were censoring books because certain fundamentalists decided these books were satanic. Some of these satanic books they were actually taking out of the school libraries were The Diary of Anne Frank, The Wizard of Oz, Satan at his finest, Snow White, Cinderella, because there's witches in them. God, when you're so paranoid, you're seeing Satan in Disneyland. What are these people afraid of? Demonic ducks? Your mother sucks Goofy's nose. All these different religious people spending all the time trying to kill other religious people, you know, like in the Middle East and Ireland, you know. Remember those Irish Spring soap commercials? I'd like to see a more realistic version, something like this. Great shooting, Kevin. Why, but I tell ya, after all this hard work in slaughtering Protestants, you sure do build up a sweat. By the way, how did that bullet go through Sean? Clean as a whistle. Irish Spring keeps a dead man fresh. But think about all the supposedly religious people spending all the time killing other religious people. You know, all these terrorists, and you have the Sikhs versus the Hindus, you have the Jews and Muslims, we're always fighting. Shiite Muslims versus Sunni Muslims. You know, you never see fighting atheists and agnostics. Maybe they haven't found a goddamn reason to fight. It'd be interesting to see, though, wouldn't it? Like Irish atheists versus Irish agnostics, you know? Take that, you bloody non-believer! Up yours, you uncertain bastard! When I was growing up, most of my friends were Catholic, and they informed me if I was lucky, I wouldn't necessarily have to go to hell at all. I might just end up in limbo. Which, you see, the Catholics was a place in between heaven and hell, but all I knew from limbo was the dance. So when I was a kid, that's how I pictured Catholic heaven, is where this long line of Catholics trudging up to the pearly gates. And there was St. Peter, standing at the gate, holding out the stick, the limbo stick. And what the Catholics had to do was like bend over backwards, obeying the laws to get into heaven. Ding dun 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 dun. Yum bum 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 bum. Sex before you marry is Catholic catty catty. Bum 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 bum. Birth control is a no no no. How low can you go? How low can you go? Do the limbo. Don't get to use it. I never can come up with an ending. No, I'm just